Let's talk about what Judicial Watch is doing and what we've uncovered. So you remember the Clinton email scandal, right? Well, it grew out of in large measure, Judicial Watch's lawsuit to get information about Benghazi. And frankly, our Benghazi investigations were the most consequential non-governmental investigations in America's history, because it uncovered the Clinton email scandal, it uncovered the Benghazi scandal in the sense that it led to the creation of the Select Committee on Benghazi. And as a result of the Clinton email scandal being uncovered, Hillary Clinton is president. That was how history was changed as a result of our work. Not because of anything Congress did, not because of anything the Justice Department did, was because Judicial Watch knew the lies about Benghazi and the attack itself was a scandal without measure at that time. And we put enormous resources into figuring out what went on. And we did. And we caught Hillary Clinton in her email scandal. And we caught the fact that the White House, not the intelligence community, but it was the White House who concocted the Benghazi lies, that a video made them do it. It was a spontaneous demonstration as opposed to a well-planned, fully conceived for some, had been conceived in terms of, been planned for some time. It was a terrorist attack. They all knew it at the time and they lied about it. We proved it. Why did they lie about it? Was because they wanted to keep President Obama in office. So they lied about intelligence. Does that remind you of something? They lied about intelligence to keep an election result the way they wanted it to be, which was the re-election of President Obama. So they didn't want it known widely that there was a terrorist attack, the murder of our ambassador and 3 other innocent Americans, something that could have been prevented. They didn't want all that known. So they lied. They said it was a video. It was spontaneous demonstration. Couldn't have known. We found out they had every reason to know. There were all sorts of warnings, securities, threats. And who was concocting the lies out of the White House? Well, we got the document. We got the smoking gun document. Ben Rhodes, national security official. I think he was deputy national security advisor. And so we have these new documents that have come out because we've been asking about the FBI's fraudulent investigation of Hillary Clinton. And they've been giving us documents confirming it was fraudulent. But we got some, because it was Benghazi related. Interestingly, how the criminal investigation of the Clinton email case by the FBI and Justice Department uncovered Benghazi material. Is that interesting? Well, let me show you the contempt they have for the rule of law in our democracy. So these documents show, so going back in time, the attack was on September 11th. A few days later, September 16th, then Ambassador Susan Rice, Benghazi Susan, as some people call her, went on 5 television talk shows and lied. Sunday talk shows, the full Gunsberg, as they call it, went and lied in all the talk shows saying a video made him do it, when in fact they all knew it was an attack. And she, as we have uncovered in the documents, specifically knew it was an attack, not a demonstration that got out of hand. So on September 27th, the cat's more out of the bag. It's pretty clear that they couldn't suppress the information about it being a terrorist attack. And so there's this email communication between Ben Rhodes in the Obama White House and Hillary Clinton's Chief of Staff, Jake Sullivan, Deputy Chief of Staff, Jake Sullivan. Also involved was Tommy Vitor, who was the national security spokesman. So they're sitting around these emails. And Rhodes, Sullivan says, what's the plan? What's the plan here? Talking about Benghazi. Broader plan is, Rhodes writes, is IC, intelligence community, acknowledgement of an evolving assessment of what took place, what happens to be true, which, excuse me, let me start over. A broader plan, the broader plan is an IC, intelligence community, acknowledgement of an evolving assessment of what took place, which happens to be true, unlike just about everything else we've seen reported on Benghazi. An evolving assessment. So he's saying he knows what's going to take place. And the way they're going to spin it is it's an evolving assessment. So this is not the intelligence community operating on its own. This is the intelligence community, their evolving assessment being orchestrated directly out of the Obama White House. The reason we have an intelligence community, the reason we have intelligence is for them to independently go and take a look at material, not independent in the sense that they just do whatever they want. But on the issue of Benghazi, they do an investigation in theory, and they report the facts to their customers, the president and senior officials in an administration. Here, the outcome's preordained. So they're abusing the intelligence community to get a preordained outcome, which is an evolving assessment, meaning, oh, we initially thought it was a demonstration, but as more information came in, it became clear it was an attack. That's a lie. That's not the way it happened. How do we know it's a lie? Because we have the man who wrote this email. We have his other emails. Where he told Susan Rice specifically, when she's going on the shows, that was an effort to reinforce President Obama and to portray the attack as being rooted in an internet video, not a failure of policy. So they were trying to actually use the attack to make Obama look better by lying about it. And how does this tie to Obamagate? Well, you see, they were manipulating intelligence and lying about intelligence to get a political result so that the president could win re-election. For the next election, they manipulated intelligence and lied about it so they could get a political result to try to short circuit the Trump campaign. And after that, to get a political result to overthrow or attempt to overthrow the Trump campaign. There's nothing new under the sun when it comes to Obama corruption. All the abuses you hear about with Obama in 2006, excuse me. Yeah, I guess it's 2016, how quickly time goes by. They had run-throughs. You had the abuses in 2012 with Benghazi and the lies about intelligence. You had the FBI and the Justice Department and the IRS and other agencies being used to target and suppress the entire Tea Party movement and any opposition to President Obama in 2012 as well. Those agencies were abused in 2012. There's nothing new. So they just did it again in 2016. They used different topics to target their political opposition, but they did it once before and it worked the first time. I say between the IRS, especially the IRS abuse, which suppressed the entire Tea Party movement. That's how you steal an election in plain sight. That's how Obama, as far as I'm concerned, stole the 2012 election because he abused his powers to suppress his political opposition. Did he literally change votes? No, of course not. Well, I don't know. But I do have evidence his political appointees in league with the allies in the Hill used the IRS to try to suppress his political opposition. And they kept on doing it even after he won. Even after he won. So by the time Trump had come around, they had already had the wheels in motion. They already knew what to do. They already had the playbook. So isn't that astonishing? Now, this stuff is not as, it's more of a kind of an indictment in terms of the attitude they had, this other material that we've uncovered, but it's something you'll want to know about. They start joking about being called liars as it relates to Benghazi. Rhodes says to Sullivan and other officials whose names are redacted for whatever reason, at least you're only a liar. Could be worse. We're liars and we're also allegedly leakers. So you've got that going for you, which is something. Sullivan replies, we're only lying foot soldiers, sick. You're lying masterminds. That's cooler. Then someone else replies to Sullivan, whose name they redacted. I prefer that we go by henchmen. Has more of a Marvel comic sinisterness to it. There should be a cable show where all the guests and the anchor have to wear polygraphs. Or when there's a dispute between the source, the aggrieved parties take a poly with some neutral third party rendering judgment, the biggest liar. I don't even know what that means. Rhodes says to Sullivan, I like to go on television and tell everybody what I think. Look at it this way. It could be worse. You could be a career bureaucrat whose greatest thrill in life is leaking half-truths, self-justifications, and outright lies to the likes of Eli Lake, Kim Dozier, and whoever else picks up the phone at Fox News. Whoever picks up the phone at Fox News. So they're joking about how they kind of like being called liars about this terrorist attack. What do you think of that? I mean, they just were caught lying, by the way. They were caught lying about it. I remember when we first uncovered the document that showed that Rhodes has orchestrated these lies, and you had the Obama people go out and say, well, it doesn't say what it says. And even our enemies in the media said, what are you talking about? And then they're joking about being called liars and kind of reveling in it. I mean, it shows their contempt for the rule of law. It shows their contempt for the 4 innocent Americans who were killed that day. Murdered. And again, it shows that Ben Rhodes, who was the Obama White House senior official who created the false story for Susan Rice to lie to the American people with in order to help Obama stay in office, was planning to orchestrate again another fake story, the evolving explanation that the Benghazi attack by the intelligence committee, the evolving explanation about the Benghazi attack, written, created by the intelligence community, all of which was designed to help Obama's reelection. So again, abuse of intelligence to achieve a political result. It happened in 2012, and it happened again in 2016. So if you want to know why they were interested in Obamagate, why they used why they abused, how they were able to abuse the intelligence community so easily to spy on Trump, we now know, because they did it in 2012. And who knew all about this? Who knew it? General Flynn. General Flynn knew about Benghazi, you can be sure, and he knew what they were planning on Obama in terms of on the Russia smear. Certainly, he was going to figure it out, and in many ways, that's one reason he was targeted.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.